Hello everyone, I know it has been quite a while since I've gone live on this channel. Most live streams I've been in since the last one here have been on Diecast channel and Duckboy's channel, and of course, you know, people don't tend to watch my live streams, so I didn't really do many on mine. But after attempting and struggling and getting frustrated with storing it on my phone trying to record this video and upload it as a normal one, I figured I might as well just try to do this live, and then it would just be up for people to watch in the future if they really wanted to. So, what this is going to be, it's basically just me going over all the stuff I got for Christmas, briefly talking about it, going over it. Try not to linger too long on one thing, but you know how I tend to get ranting like I am right now. Um, so yeah, it'll be all the stuff I got for Christmas, plus stuff that I bought in the past couple weeks, because I figured, I might as well just bundle it all into one and not trying to make a bunch of different videos talking about stuff that I've purchased. There is one exception though. Um, Something I bought online has not shown up, and it will not show up for a while. I'm not going to delay this for 2 more weeks for one CD. I've got plenty of those to talk about as is, so for now, we're just going to go for it. Starting out with the vinyls, I got the first three here I'm going to talk about. I bought before Christmas for myself. So this is Elton John's Greatest Hits Volume 2. I've had Volume 1 for a while. It's a good album. This one's also good. It's just very strange, the selection here. One song from Caribou, one song from Blue Moves, one song from Captain Fantastic, two songs from Rock of the Westies, a song from Madman Across the Water, and then a bunch of non-album singles. So it's quite a strange compilation paired with a kind of odd album cover. I mean, I like this album cover. It's just very strange. The lighting is very weird. Um, I don't know. Um, this cover kind of reminds me because this past summer, I just got my first part-time job, and I was working at a golf course, mini golf course, and sometimes, actually most of the time, I would work the night shift. So this is actually somewhat reminiscent of what that would look like. Reminiscent of 2 months ago, but shut up. This is the inner sleeve, bunch of photos, very nice. On the back it has track listing, credits, that kind of thing. I guess this would actually be the front. I think I just have it in wrong. I'm not going to show the actual vinyls themselves because there's not really any point. But yeah, this one's good. I like all the songs on here, even though some are not really my favorites. And I would definitely like to see other songs, but the hit's a hit. It's not my favorite songs. It's the ones that were most commercially successful, so I can't really complain too much, especially because it has Pinball Wizard. Um, Next is 15 Big Ones by the Beach Boys. I'll be honest, this album is not really my favorite. Definitely of their later ones, this is not that great. Even, I know people tend not to really like the post-Holland albums. Stuff like MIU album, LA Light, Keeping the Summer Alive. People don't really like them that much. I think, of the two I've listened to, MIU and Keeping the Summer Alive, I think they're pretty good. This one, though, oh my guys, brief intermission here. Very strange. Anyway, 15 Big Ones. This is not really my favorite, especially because it follows Holland, um, which is my favorite. It's not bad, it's just the song selection here is just kind of lacking, to be honest, especially side one, or A side as this one calls it. Um, rock and roll music, and it's a cover, but like it's not really my favorite, especially for the Beach Boys. There's other Beach Boys covers that I like a lot more. Um, Susie Cincinnati, I'd say B side, as I refer to it as, really picks up the album, but still, it's just not. It just cannot compare to like Pet Sounds, Smiley Smile, Wild Honey, Friends, 2020, Sunflower, Surfs Up, Carl and Passions, and especially Holland, which all preceded it. Um, oh my God, here we go. See, this is the problem with doing a live, but I'm kind of in too late to go back now. Anyway, 15 big ones. This is what the inside looks like. It's gatefold, bunch of pictures. There's Brian, I think. I don't know. I'm not very good with distinguishing them. That's Mike. Cancelled. Yeah, good. Um, yeah, decent album, just not one I really adore. I got it because it was cheap and in good condition, kind of. I don't know why someone cut this, but um, it was there. I've never seen a physical copy of this before, so I figured I might as well just get it, and I did. So there's 15 big ones. The next one is Cahoots by the band. Thank you, Barbara, for signing that. This is my favorite band album, kind of in direct contrast to 15 Big Ones, which is not one I really like that much, but I really like Cahoots. That's kind of all I have to say about it. I know people will be like, oh, well, Big Pink is better and self-titled and all that. I don't care. I like Cahoots the best. I'm not trying to discredit those other albums, but out of all of them that I've listened to, at least, I kind of doubt that anything um, past Northern Lights, Southern Cross is really going to be my favorite. But people like Jericho, so maybe that one will be pretty good. But Cahoots, very good album. Um, Not a ton to say about this in particular. This particular copy, it plays well. It's not in the best condition, sleeve and actual record, as you can see, but it's fine. The cover of this album is just odd. I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking with that one. So that was the first trip that I took somewhere, and that was the first set of vinyls that I got. I also got some CDs while I was there, so just grab those real quick. More Elton John. It's gonna be a consistent theme throughout this live stream. This is Made in England. This is his second album from the 90s. For some reason, the CD copy doesn't have the title, which is weird. It's just this stupid picture of him, but I guess if you want to reverse it with that, then you can. The disc is very bland, as is the back. It's just white, which, there's plenty of other things you could put on there, but I guess not. Um, Made in England as an album, it's good, but I'd say the one, his first 90s album is better, and the, what's it called? Songs from the West Coast is definitely better. This is better than the big picture, though. But this copy's not in horrible condition. It's pretty good for a CD. It has the rocket or kind of rainbow thing and all that going on there. Very in line with the classic years collection of his. But Unfortunately, the other 90s albums don't follow that, so it just kind of sticks out and looks stupid, but oh well. Good album. Um, Speaking of songs from the West Coast, um, I've only seen this album a couple times on CD in the past, so I'm glad I was able to get it. Um, I really do like the cover though. I mean, it's not like my favorite, it's not his best, but I like the idea going on here and how it kind of extends. If I can get the thing out. It's one of these. This folds out and folds out, and it creates this like big. I hate to say big picture, but you know, I like that. I think that's something unique about this album that I've never really seen with Elton John or really any other band. I'm sure there's some out there, I just haven't seen them before, but similar to Made in England though, the disc art is definitely leaves a lot to be desired. Um, as for the album itself, this one's actually good, pretty good for a 90s Elton John album. I'd say I still prefer the one, but this one I feel kind of ditches a lot of the more kind of, I don't really know how to describe it. It's like very 80s sounding production. Even though I like that on the one, and to an extent Made in England, it kind of plagues albums in my opinion, like Sleeping with the Past, which is why I'm not a big fan of Sleeping with the Past. But this one I feel kind of abandons that after it was like kind of overdone, in my opinion, on the big picture. This one really reels things back. Um, and makes it sound a lot better as an album. Definitely much more Elton sounding. Next up is Peachtree Road. Again, another Elton. This is the last of the Eltons for this batch, but don't worry, we'll get back to them soon. Peachtree Road, I see this album a lot. I was really hoping, like, before I listened to it, that this was going to be, like, a really good album. Like, this was really going to surprise me, but, I mean, to be honest, it kind of didn't. I'm not a big fan of the hot pink on the back or the spine. I feel like I guess it fits like peach, I guess, but like I don't know. I feel like it should be a little more subdued, especially with this kind of cover. I really like the cover though. And there's the well, you can definitely tell what era this was from. And there's the disc, also pink. I think this is actually separate, yeah, from the other insert. I'm not gonna really go through the inserts on all of them because, frankly, there's just not a lot to say about most of them. I'm gonna struggle to get that. Oh, never mind. There we go. But yeah, it's a good album still. I mean, it's worth listening to, but definitely not his best. Moving out in the Elton John section, we move on to Springsteen, another artist I've gotten into this year that I haven't really talked about on this channel. Same with the Beach Boys. I'm very happy that Best Value was included on this. But yeah, this is his second album, The Wild and the Innocent and the Street Shuffle. I don't really know what to describe his early period as, but like, this is probably my least favorite of it. I'd say his early period to me is like Asbury Park through Born in the USA, but you might say that his early period ends with Nebraska or The River or even maybe Darkness on the Edge of Town. I don't know, but I put this one on there, Asbury Park. It's not far off. I'd say they're about the same though. All good songs on here, not a bad one. The batch, but just compared to others, I feel like others are stronger. If we open this up here, there is the disc, recreates the Columbia, the red label, pretty well, I'd say, and there's the thing behind it. Very good album, I'd say. Definitely worth listening to, And there's the spine. Unfortunately, this is the only Springsteen album that does not have giant red text on the spine, which makes it stick out, but oh well. Not a huge deal. It's worth getting the album. If I have to put up with that, it's not a deal breaker. Then we have the Lucky Town, which I cannot defend this cover. This cover sucks. It's just plain is not good. Like, the stretched letters are one thing, and then you get this stupid picture. It's just like, this is not good. I guess this one doesn't really have big red letters too, but his name's in red, so at least that's something. You open that up there, red disc. I believe this is a 90s album. Yeah, so this would have come out on CD in the first place. There's the track list there. I like Lucky Town quite a bit. Not like, better than Asbury Park. Not Asbury Park, but East Street Shuffle. I actually rank Lucky Town right below East Street Shuffle. Keep in mind I haven't listened to every album, so I can't really say too much about the other ones. This is actually the latest I've gone. I like this one better than Human Touch, though, which was released on the same day, I believe. Kind of like a Pokemon game. Don't really know why he did that, but hey. He did. And both were good, but I like Lucky Town more. So the last CD of this batch will be Piano Man by Billy Joel. This cover is not very good, I will tell you that right now. I don't care what anyone says, I don't care how iconic it is. This is not a good cover. There's the inside track list disc. I hate how reflective some of these are. It's very annoying when you're trying to film a video. But yeah, this was the only Billy Joel CD they had of an album I actually liked. Or I guess not like, but listened to. And I did not pay this. This is an old sticker. But they didn't have Cold Spring Harbor or Turnstiles or Street Life Serenade. They only had Piano Man, Stormfront, which I already have, and I think it's called River of Dreams, which I haven't listened to. But yeah, I'm happy with Piano Man, though. Piano Man's a very good album. I just would have liked to see more variety. You got some very popular songs, Captain Jack, title track. So yeah, Piano Man's good, and I'm glad I have it. But I would have liked to have seen more there, because I definitely want to get more Billy Joel albums in the future. Just keeping up with the vinyls now. We're back to Elton. I'm sorry, there's a lot of Elton in this. Too Low for Zero. This is his comeback album from 1983, with his very popular song I'm Still Standing. Another very popular song, actually. I guess that's why they call it the blues. I paid $6 for this. This was one I actually bought on vacation. 2025. But I got it as a Christmas gift. It's got a sleeve on it. It's not in perfect shape. The vinyl is not super great. And I actually don't know if it's supposed to look like this. I mean, I kind of have to think it is, but because it's a very particular looking thing, but at the same time, like, it just looks weird. I feel like it was water damage or something, but I've never liked these paper sleeves for records, though, that actually have stuff printed on them, because, like, it's just gonna rip like that. Oh, and like that. Okay. There's the vinyl. I'm not gonna pull that out, just like the other ones. But also, like, they're just not very easy to get back in. At least for me, I've noticed that, like, getting them back into the outside sleeve is just not the easiest. I mean, that was easy, but that's not the same for everyone. But yeah, Too Late for Zero is a pretty good album still. Probably my least favorite of, like, the early 80s ones, though. 21 to 33, The Fox, Jump Up. I like all those a lot more. Not a lot more, but, a little bit more than Too Low for Zero. But this one's still better than, like, Breaking Hearts, Ice on Fire, Leather Jackets, Sleeping with the Past. Red Strikes Back I like more, I think, though. Or maybe the same, I don't know. I need to listen to this album more. I kind of held off on listening to it too much because I knew I was going to get the vinyl. So now that I have it, I'll probably listen to it a lot more and get a more concrete opinion on it. Here is my next one, Creedence Clearwater Revival, our first album. I pay, I think, 12? Yeah, 12 for this, and it's in pretty good shape. I'm actually not going to open it because there's nothing on the inside worth looking at. Very weird cover, though. Weird outfits, weird, like, border thing. Weird, like, you can't really see the title. And on the back, like, why did they put white on, like, a black and white photograph? That just does not work. But, yeah, you know, their debut was very good, I'd say. And I'm glad, like, my first one I ever got was their debut. This one's not my favorite, though. But I'd say Creedence has like a very consistent discography in terms of quality. You know, they're very consistently like a good band. Um, are they like necessary to listen to by album? Not really. But you know, if you're a big enough fan, then I'd recommend listening to all of it. Even Mardi Gras. People hate Mardi Gras. People really don't like it. I think it's good. Not their best. It's like still their weakest, but you know, not bad. And speaking of Holland earlier by the Beach Boys, here it is, my favorite Beach Boys album. I do already have this on CD through the Sail on Sailor album, which is a combination of Carl and the Passions and Holland, as well as um, what's it called, Mount Vernon and Fairway, and some bonus stuff. Unfortunately, the vinyl, this copy does not come with, or did not come with a copy of Mount Vernon and Fairway. Basically, what happened was Holland came out with, of course, the actual album Holland, and then an EP, I believe, or some kind of like smaller disc with Mount Vernon and Fairway, which was like a, I think like a like musical like fairy tale thing that Brian made. Yeah, author of Mount Vernon and Fairway, a fairy tale. I still need to listen to Mount Vernon though. I have not yet. But this copy's in very good condition. Maybe not the sleeve, you know, there's some ring wear there, but not a huge deal. And there's the back. I didn't show it very well. It's got like the members, kind of what they did on the album, some credits and stuff. You know, just some general information. But there's Holland, my favorite Beach Boys album. Don't have a lot to say about it though, just because, you know, it's a great album, you know. I give it like, I actually give this like a perfect rating. I just really love it. I recommend listening to it if you haven't before. But I was very happy to get that. So now moving back to CDs, these are the ones I got for Christmas. Starting with Elton John again, Captain Fantastic and the Brown Dirt Cowboy. This was his 1975 kind of autobiography album, which basically told the story through songs of him and his lyricist Bernie Taupin in the early days of their careers, trying to do anything really. This is the deluxe set that released this year, the 2 CD. They spin a lot, so it's kind of hard to keep them upright. There's, I believe that's in the original, because I have the vinyl. I'm pretty sure that's in the original. There's a book in there. I'm not gonna really look in that right now, though, for the sake of this. And there's the track list. As you can see, all 10 of the original songs on disc 1, plus the Classic Years bonus tracks, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds cover, One Day at a Time cover, Philadelphia Freedom, and a new bonus track, House of Cards, which was the B-side to Someone Saved My Life Tonight. And then disc 2 is made up of demos and live performances from 2005. can see what songs he performed there compared to the original. I believe the ones missing are Tower of Babel and Writing. Yeah. Yeah, I'm happy to have this because I really like Captain Fantastic. So it's cool to have the original album on CD plus some bonus stuff to listen to every now and then. But yeah, there's Captain Fantastic. Unfortunately, though, there is one gripe I have with this album, or with this release, and it's that the original wraparound cover, because on the original, this art connects with this art on the spine, but it seems on the CD they did not do that. But, you know, it's fine. You know, it's not a complete deal breaker, but very good, though. And then, sticking with the Captain theme, we have The Captain and the Kid, which was basically the sequel to Captain Fantastic, released in, I believe, 2000, maybe 6, yeah. Unfortunately, this one was a cracked thing there, snapped off there, but, you know, it's okay. I do like this case and cover and stuff a lot more than a lot of the other 90s and 2000s Elton albums. Not to say this is the best, you know, but... And overall, I was actually surprised, because I didn't listen to this before I got the CD. I didn't pick this out. My parents got this for me. I was surprised by how much I liked this album. It seems they like really, really tried to make it as good, or at least comparable to Captain Fantastic. You know, I never say this is as good or really even close, but you know, it's a commendable effort and definitely a good album. Probably much better than Peachtree Road and The Diving Board. I'd say it's even better than Wonderful Crazy Night. Next one here is Healing Chemistry by Oasis. This is the last Oasis album I needed. I had everything else, the studio albums anyway. I just needed Healing Chemistry, which I waited because Healing Chemistry is kind of my least favorite. I'm going to be completely honest. It's, you know, it's still a good album. It's like a very good album, but I don't know. Compared to the others, it just wasn't, it's just not as good. And the CDs, for some reason, at least when I went to look, was like way more expensive than the other ones. The inside looks like this. There's the disc. Here's behind the disc. The insert, just a black thing on the back. The cover, you know, it's got the sticker there. The spine, I don't really like the spine. Just because like it has all this stuff crammed together instead of spacing it out a little bit. And then that side is like blue. I guess it's supposed to be like a definitely maybe thing. But yeah, Healing Chemistry is pretty good. I'm glad to have this, just to have all the Oasis albums. And it's still just like a good album. It's just not as good. Next up is Tally Hall's Good and Evil. I've had Marvin's for a while now, since like the end of the summer, I'd say. Marvin's is my favorite, but Good and Evil is very close second, you know. I rate both of these very, very high. Good and Evil is just such like a different album from Marvin's when you really look at it, so it's kind of it's a little hard to compare them directly, but this is the CD release. I really like the Good and Evil cover. Not as good as Marvin's again, but the spine looks like that. You get the upside down Good and Evil, which is a good way to keep in theme with the front. The back, I don't know why the back looks like this, to be honest. I'm not a huge fan of the way it's just like solid gray, but you got all the 14 original songs on there, plus Light and Night, which is not listed, but it's a pre-gap bonus track, which means you have to go to Never Meant to Know and rewind it on your CD player, reverse it until it gets to the beginning of Light and Night, which is kind of dumb to me. Like, just put Light and Night at the end. You know, with Marvin's, Marvin's had a pre-gap bonus track with the like Sims version of Good Day, but that's because it was just the Sims version of Good Day. You know, if you really want to listen to that, then you can rewind it. Marvin's had 3 other bonus tracks. It had Mucka Blucka, Dream, and is it called? Damn it. I can't remember. Just a Friend. Just a Friend. And those were just listed as the bonus tracks. You know, they weren't hidden. But for some reason, Light Night forces you to go back. But oh wow. There's the inside. There's that going on with the members, and then the disc looks like that. I really like the disc. There's behind it. With like the reflective pieces taking up the black, and then the white, you know, staying the same. I really like that. But yeah, Good and Evil, very good album. Glad to have it to complete the Tally Hall collection. I know there's like incomplete demos and whatever stuff like that, but I don't think there's not an official release I can get of those. This is the Needle Juice release. For anyone wondering. Going back to Beach Boys again, we have Smiley Smile and get it open, Wild Honey. This was something that Capitol did at some point with all the Beach Boys albums. They took two and they would put it in a set, sometimes on one disc, sometimes on two. This is the one I have, the only one I have as of now, Smiley Smile, Wild Honey. I really like Smiley Smile and Wild Honey. I think they're very strong albums, especially Smiley Smile. I really like it. People kind of tend not to like it too much, but I think it's a very good album. Same with Wild Honey. I think people like Wild Honey a lot more than Smiley Smile typically, but I don't know. Smiley Smile just has something about it. But Wild Honey is also very good. Definitely recommend listening to both. And that's the picture behind it. And it also has some bonus tracks here. Alternate take of Heroes and Villains, which is actually my favorite Beach Boys song, so happy to see that on there. Good Vibrations, Various Sessions, Good Vibrations Early Take, You're Welcome, Hearts Were Full of Spring, and Can't Wait Too Long. There's bonus tracks on there. I'm not entirely sure what all those were. I believe You're Welcome was a B-side to something. I have no idea what it was a B-side to, though. Maybe Good Vibrations, but I don't know. But, you know, you get both albums, full albums, which is a very good deal, and you can reverse the insert here. Well, you can try. There we go. So that the front is... I put it upside down. But you get the idea. You know, you can slip it to whatever one you want. I just keep it a Smiley Smile because it's my favorite of the two, and because it comes first in release order. But yeah, pretty cool release. Even better of a release, in my opinion, is than the earlier years. This is a They Might Be Giants compilation. Another band I've gotten into this year. There's the first disc. There's a second. There's not supposed to be a third, for anyone wondering. And then, you know, you got the book there of all the stuff. Then is their first album, self-titled, and their second album, Lincoln, combined into one release with many bonus tracks. I really do like their self-titled. I think it's a very good album, but Lincoln is like much better. Lincoln is seriously like one of my favorite albums of all time. It's just so good. Like everything about it is just so well made. But on top of that, you also get the B-sides from the EPs. Released, like, you know, the singles are released, get EPs since they were an 80s, 90s band. Well, I guess they're still a band, but, you know, they started in the 80s. And then a bunch of bonus tracks and stuff stemming from various places. I believe the insert book explains where all of them come from, but this is probably one of the, like, best value you can get if you're a CD collector and you like They Might Be Giants, which, I mean, I can't guarantee how common of a thing that is, but, you know, if you're interested in the band, I'd say this is definitely something you should get. It's very good, and I'm very happy to have it. It was easier to get this than like Lincoln and self-titled individually. Plus, I got bonus stuff with it, so yeah. And sticking with They Might Be Giants, we have Flood. I was actually not expecting to get Flood, but I did. There's the disc. There's the back with all the songs. I'm not sure why yellow was the color they chose. I mean, I would have maybe because it's there, but I don't know. I would have gone with like blue or just continued the green, but you know, it's not my CD, not my album, so who knows? Flood, I believe, is their most popular album, but I mean, I like Lincoln more, to be honest. But Flood's up there. Flood's like probably my second favorite. A lot of very, oops, a lot of very good songs on here. But yeah, there's Flood. Not a ton to say, because with a lot of these, I just like, you know, I recommend just listening to the album if you haven't before. You know, a lot of the experience with these comes from just listening to them, but showing them off like this, you know, there's not a ton to talk about. And the final Giants album is Apollo 18. This is not its original case. I swapped it out with a spare one because this centerpiece here that holds the disc was broken. Like all those little things were like broken in. So yeah, I replaced that. And the disc is right there, as you can see, very reflective. And then there's the insert, which has a bunch of like lyrics and stuff and photos. I'm not gonna open that up because it's one of those that folds out. Just like that's also why I didn't open up Floods. There's the back with all the songs, and I really like the cover of Apollo 18. The spine actually is consistent with the cover, unlike Flood, color-wise, that is. But yeah, Apollo 18, another very good album from them. I'd say it's my third favorite, yeah. Third favorite Giants album of the ones I've listened to. I've listened to everything from self-titled to Long Tall Weekend. So the next one I listen to will be Mint Car, which I think is a popular one, so I guess I'll see how much I like it. But that was all the vinyls and CDs I got for Christmas. Now to go over the ones I bought after Christmas. So here is Victim of Love by Elton John. Again, another Elton John one. This is my least favorite Elton John album. I'll just be honest and upfront right now. This is my least favorite. It's like it's a disco album with like no I think they're all covers. I'm not sure though. You know, Johnny B. Good is definitely one, but like I don't know. This one just doesn't really work for me. A lot of the songs sound too similar to each other. The ones that aren't too similar are just like not that good as is. You know, this album opens with an 8-minute version of Johnny B. Good, disco version of Johnny B. Good, might I add. So that should tell you all you need to know. This is the inner sleeve. I'm not even going to show the back because it's just the same as the front with no text on it. Yeah, not great. I got this because it was like $6 and it was in good condition, and because I didn't want to pay like more at a different place when I finally decided to buy this. So yeah, that's why I bought it, but just for completionist's sake. But this is still my least favorite. Another Elton John one, which I actually have not opened yet. This is the first brand new vinyl I've ever bought. It is the Complete Tom Bell Sessions. The Tom Bell Sessions were something Elton did in 1977, but were not released until 1979, and it was on an EP. Yeah, basically, side 2, I think, 3 whole songs were the only ones released, and now we get the additional 3. This was released, I believe, like 2 years ago, but I have not listened to the Tom Bell Sessions yet, so this will be the first time I've ever listened to them. It's just kind of interesting to me, getting a new vinyl because I've never done it before. Here's the spine. Yeah, the cover is interesting. To be honest, I think I prefer the original in black and white rather than the color one, but oh well. And there's the piano on the back. Can't say too much about it though, because I haven't heard it yet. And yet another Elton vinyl is this one here. It is Ice on Fire. This is an 80s album. It's good. Like it's good. It's fine. I'll say that. It's like a decent album. Not his best, not his worst. Kind of just sitting there in the middle. This is actually a promotional copy, which is pretty nice. You ever see those? At least I don't. And there's the back. All the songs and stuff. Hold on, I need a drink. Okay. So, yeah. This is an 80s album. The insert's kind of boring, or the inner sleeve, like, this is kind of boring. It's just lyrics and credits on it. No pictures, really, except for that one, which I guess is Bernie, and nothing on the back. But yeah, Ice on Fire, it's a decent album, just not... I'd say it's skippable, to be honest. Not really worth listening to unless you're like me. You're listening to all of them. But I got it because I actually haven't seen a ton of these. This must not be a very common album. And like, even if I'm not a big fan of it, if it's there and I've never seen it, I kind of just have to get it, if I'm going to be a completionist, because then I'm never going to see it again. But, oh well, at least it's an album I'll enjoy listening to, I don't hate it, it's just not like, it's not like my favorite. And the final vinyl of the stream is Paris, Supertramp. This is a live album, a double one actually. There's the inside, picture of the band, credits and stuff, brief description. There's the back with the track list. I'd say this one's good. Paris is good. Probably one of the better live albums I've listened to. Granted, I haven't listened to a lot of them, but I'd say Paris is good. My only problem is that I feel like Crime of the Century is kind of overrepresented on this album. You have School, Bloody Well Right, Hiding Your Shell, Dreamer, Rudy, Asylum, and Crime of the Century. The only song from the original album that's missing is If Everyone Was Listening. Like you're listening, or you're missing one song, and it's basically just Crime of the Century live. And this was recorded on the Breakfast in America tour. Yet, like, there's only three songs from that album. Logical Song, the title track, and Take the Long Way Home, which, they're all very good songs. It's cool to see them here, but, for a Breakfast in America live tour, your live album based around it should probably have a lot more from that album, but oh well. I actually think Ain't Nobody But Me, Soapbox Opera, two of us. Actually, Breakfast in America is represented just as much as Christ is What Crisis is, which is interesting because I've read that Christ is What Crisis was not a particularly well-liked album by Supertramp. So it's kind of weird that they would play the same amount of songs from that album that they play from their new album that they're promoting with the tour, but, whatever. This copy I got for $6, which is pretty good for a double album as is, but this actually plays pretty well. It's not in perfect condition. I've seen the discs. They're pretty scratched. I've seen worse damage on vinyls, but I didn't actually think these would play as well as they did. But for $6, I figured, oh, well, it's a double album. I might as well. It looks good enough, but it actually surprised me. But so that's nice. And that is the last of the vinyls. I have a few more CDs to talk about though. Here is the last few purchases I've made. These were all ordered online. Starting out with the Kinks of the Village Green Preservation Society. I've been hunting this album for a while now, and I'm very glad to finally have it. It seems that like Kinks CDs are just not very common. Just Kinks in general are just not very common. At least the albums I'm looking for. You know, I've never seen Something Else. I've never seen Village Green, Arthur, Lola, any of those in person on vinyl. The only CD I've ever seen of them is Lola, and I bought it. And that's been my only Kinks CD, or Kinks anything, really, for a little bit now. But which is good, because that's my favorite Kinks album. But I was looking for some more, and I decided to just buy them off eBay. So here's Village Green. Here's the inside. I'm not going to open it up, because there's really nothing in there. That's the back. So just like Apollo 18, but not as bad, parts of the thing have cracked off, and I don't know why it's like that. It's very strange. But I definitely did not get off to a very good start with this one, because I left it open like this, and I was playing a 3DS game. I'll get to that in a second. And I dropped the 3DS, and it landed on there, and it cracked this part. I've glued it back together. Somehow it glued back together. I don't know how I managed to do that. But, yeah. I mean, it's not like it's the end of the world. I mean, I was able to put it back together, and it already wasn't in perfect condition to begin with. The disc is especially, like, not good. It's very scratched. It plays fine. I think it only skipped, like one time, and it was, like, pretty brief, but, you know, not something you really want. Not preferable. And here we have Arthur, or the Decline and Fall of the British Empire. Again, another Kinks album. This one, like, I feel like people just don't know about this album, which is a shame because it's very good. There's the inside, and I don't know what, because when you unfold this, it's like this whole thing. And I don't know what it's supposed to be. I have no idea. It doesn't explain it anywhere. I mean, there's a song called Australia, and it's a kangaroo, so maybe that has something to do with it, but who knows? But yeah, Arthur, I kind of wish more people, like, knew about Arthur, because Arthur's just such a good album. I really recommend listening to it. I'd say this is probably, like, one of the coolest CDs I own, to be honest. Like, not one of the best in terms of, like, greatest album or, like, best put together CD, but coolest is just, like, you never really see something like this, you know? You never see an Arthur CD, if you even know what Arthur by the Kinks is. I mean, then again, like, people like this album. It's not like a hated album or anything. It's just like, I feel like most people normally know about it. But yeah, very good album. Definitely recommend. It's cool to have the CD. Moving on to Music from Big Pink by the band. These next three all came in a lot that I bought. I was actually looking for self-titled by the band, and I found the lot, so I just bought the lot instead because it came with two others. But here is Big Pink. Has the original album and a bunch of bonus tracks, which is all very nice. There's the inside, and it's got a like bunch of information and stuff in that insert, which is very nice to read. I really like inserts and stuff like that in CDs, like little books that you get to read. Just kind of learn more about the album, kind of get an overview of it. But there's Big Pink. The band, again, another album, or I think I already mentioned this is a band I've gotten into more this year. I say more as if like I knew them before. I didn't know who these people were. I like might have known the weight, like kind of, like it might have been kind of familiar, but I definitely did not know who made it or what the song title was or anything like that. Big Pink is not my favorite. I'd probably say it's my third favorite behind Cahoots and Self-Titled. But you know, it deserves the reputation it has. It is a very, very strong album. Um, but yeah, there is music from Big Pink. And next is Self-Titled. Again, like I said, probably my second favorite. There's the back, again, a bunch of bonus tracks. There's the inside, has no insert. Definitely recommend this one. I've neglected to mention Big Pink is actually the first band album I've ever listened to. And then this was actually the second. But um, I skipped one and went to Cahoots. I skipped the next one we're about to talk about, actually. Not intentionally, though, because my sister was actually the one that introduced me to these two albums. She does not live with us, with my family. She's moved out. But when she comes to visit, usually what me and her will do, like, at night, we'll, like, play video games and stuff. And we'll listen to, like, albums. Or watch a movie, you know, just, like, whatever we feel like doing, really. But it all started with Dig Out Your Soul by Oasis. I really like the album. All Out Diecast really doesn't like the album, or really didn't like the album at one point. He thinks it's mediocre now, but he really hated it. But I didn't know anyone else who liked Oasis but my sister, so I asked her, "Oh, what do you think of Dig Out Your Soul?" She said she never listened to it. So we listened to it together, and we settled the debate. I won. It wasn't, well, I guess one isn't really the right word to use, but you know, my sister agreed with me. It was a good album. But that kind of kickstarted a trend or a tradition, I guess. I don't know. We just listened to a bunch of albums. You know, she would pick one, I would pick one, back and forth. And at one point, she had me listen to this one and this one. She also had me listen to "Bridge Over Troubled Water" by Simon and Garfunkel, a bunch of Bruce Springsteen. That's how I got into those two. What else? Oh yeah, a couple of Fleetwood Macs. You know, just random stuff that she likes that she had me listen to. But yeah, there's the band, self-titled, very good. And finally, the last CD is Stage Fright, again by the band. This is their third album. This is the one I unintentionally skipped. What happened was I listened to both of, well, okay, me and my sister both listened to the first two on Spotify, and then Cahoots, I found on vinyl at the store, and I asked her if she wanted it, because that was before I listened to the album. And she said yes, so I bought it, and gave it to her, and we listened to it. So I kind of unintentionally just skipped Stage Fright. Stage Fright, you know, people tend to like this album from what I know. I mean, I like this album, but people tend to think it's like really good. But, you know, it's probably, it is, in my opinion, not as good as the first two albums or Cahoots. It's better than Northern Light Southern Cross, though, which is as far as I've gotten with the band. But Stage Fright's very good still, and I'm glad to have it. Here's the inside. I haven't looked at the insert yet. It seems like it's like the other ones, though, kind of like a little book. But yeah, there is Stage Fright, and subtitled in Big Pink. All in a lot for a very good price, might I add, for 3 albums. Especially when I couldn't even find self-titled on its own. So there is actually one more music thing to talk about. This is up here. Not a ton to say about this. It's just a bunch of blank CDs, 100 blank CDs to be exact. You know, that's just kind of something I wanted because I make a lot of CDs of stuff that, like, you know, doesn't have an official release on a CD or a vinyl. So I just get so I just make my own, which, I mean, I guess is piracy, but like, at the same time, there's no official way to get it, so, and also, if it was illegal, then you probably shouldn't put, like, burners on computers and stuff, and be able to download files, but, oh well. So now, finally, we can move past music and move on to all this other stuff, but I gotta get another drink first. Since we've kind of reached halfway, I'm gonna stop and look at these chat messages that I missed. I don't know how long they've been there, but I definitely know I did not see them. Okay, so they seem to be from Dave Williamson 5609. Alright, I love your Thomas videos. Thank you very much. I need to make more of them though. Call me Thomas Animate. Okay, alright. So his name is Thomas Animate, it seems. Who's your favorite Thomas character? Mine is Thomas, James Gordon, Percy, Emily, Henry, and Edward, and favorite Diesel has to be Diesel, Diesel 10, Boko, and Mavis. Alright, my favorite Thomas character of all time is Murdoch. But alright, so sorry about that, Thomas Animate. I'm sorry I missed your question when you sent it earlier. It's too busy looking at all the junk I got. But yeah, Murdoch is my favorite, and seeing as you listed quite a few favorite characters of yours, I guess I can do the same. I'm fond of Bill and Ben. I like Donna, Douglas, Oliver. No particular order here, by the way, just kind of random characters I like. Arthur, James, Gordon, Henry. Those are some of my favorites. Duncan. But at the same time, at this point, I do believe that I have to go eat dinner, as it is dinner time right now. So, I will do a part 2, where I will go over all of this other stuff shortly, even though no one's watching right now, but, whatever. So, thank you, anyone who is watching this back. Thank you for Thomas Animate for commenting throughout the stream. Again, I'm very sorry I missed your comments the first time. If you show up in the next one, I'll try to be more attentive to anyone saying anything. But for now, that's all. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.